This MAGA crowd is so sensitive.
They're like
they're
little
so
snowflakes.
Yeah, they're very We were called, the liberals are called snowflakes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know, they have the nooses. They're saying to kill Mike Pence. They're the ones with the, you know, with the guns going to kill Congress people.
60 to 70% of Republicans, I'm not even saying MAGA Republicans or this 60 to 70% of Republicans believe that Donald Trump is the leader of their party. And so if you are saying that he is a fascist, what are they? If you are saying that he is a white supremacist, what are they? Right. If you are saying that he is a racist, what are they? Because if you follow someone that has hate in their heart, and I believe that he does, then you are complicit in that. And you don't get a pass on it. You do not get a pass. The one thing I say.
All right, guys. So The View is back. Okay, after a long break, now they're back, and they are saying crazy stuff like they were before. Okay, almost as if they haven't learned their lesson from their little Turning Point USA controversy that happened right before they went off air. As they're now calling MAGA Republicans snowflakes. You're a snowflake because you are upset about the President of the United States saying that you're fascist, saying that you're a threat to this nation, while at the same time also saying that we're going to take your guns because you don't need your guns, because even with your guns, you wouldn't be able to beat the military, okay? You need F-15s and nukes, right? Now, again, if the President of the United States is calling you a fascist, he's calling you a threat, he's threatening to take away your guns, and he's also saying that he would use the military against you, yeah, I think that is a reason to be upset and freaking out, because again, that is the President of the United States saying that. It's just not about, well, Biden called us fascists. No, it's about everything that Biden's been saying about people that he politically disagrees with, right? But again, that would take critical thinking skills to understand that, something that nobody on The View has, right? Which again blows my mind why this show is still on TV. But again, they're back. And while they're talking about other people being snowflakes and getting triggered, they are actually getting triggered and being snowflakes about the reviews for The Lord of Rings, Rings of Power. Okay, Amazon's new series based off The Lord of Rings mythology or folklore or, you know, trilogy, whatever. Honestly, I've never watched it before. So again, I don't know too much about the series. I've read a little bit about it, but they're triggered over the bad reviews, okay? And Whoopi Goldberg has a meltdown over the bad reviews, saying that the bad reviews are racist, right? Which is entirely predictable coming from the mainstream level media. Anytime somebody criticizes Hollywood, the reviewers must be racist. So I want to talk about that. Before I get in that, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel, you want to support my channel, you can check out my new merch, my donkeypox shirts, the disease that's affecting America, or my hashtag no days off / hard work patriotic t-shirts, or my MAGA Hub shirts. You can check out plenty of cool merch at my website, gforemanbcp.com. Get 20% off using discount code gforemanbcp. So without further ado, let's roll the clip of The View melting down over the Lord of Rings, Rings of Power's bad reviews. Take a look.
I want to start by saying these are not real, okay? The new Lord of the Rings series, The Rings of Power, and Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, are both massive hits, but they don't exist in the real world, okay? There are no dragons, there are no hobbits, you know that. And there are critics who are saying they were too woke by adding diverse characters. Are you telling me black people can't be fake people too?
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
You can be a dragon. Well,
yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's like a Hobbit, you know, club. I don't know if they're going to be protests, but people. What is wrong with y'all?
Well, their argument is that it betrays the source material. Like
they haven't read the source material.
Of course they haven't. Like J.K. Tolkien and stuff like that. But I'm a fantasy.
Hamilton then.
Yes, but I'm a fantasy nerd, and Whoopi and I are sci-fi and fantasy nerds, so I love it so much. And I especially love Mr. Toussaint, who plays the very sexy black man,
yes,
the rich black man with the dreads.
Of the man who is looking much like me.
I love him.
I think
he looks like you when you had the white dress.
Yes, okay, Mr. Toussaint.
I love Mr. Toussaint. I would like him to be a guest on the show. But that being said, what I think is fascinating is, like, dragons are okay, fire-breathing dragons, and people with white hair that are born like that when they're little, and violet eyes, but the black people in it is just a bridge too far for these.
That's what he said. Wait,
It's
he
just a
said
bridge
that
too
in a quote.
far.
He said they're happy with the dragon flying, they're happy with white hair and violet-colored eyes, but a rich black guy?
It's just too much.
That was
It's just
where
a
they
bridge
lost
too
it.
far.
It's just
Well,
racist.
y'all are gonna lose your minds when you see the new Ariel.
Yes.
Because and I don't want to upset any mermaids who are watching the show.
Yes.
You know, because I know there are many communities of mermaids of various colors. And when I say of various colors, I'm not playing. There are violet mermaids, there are pink mermaids, there are black mermaids, there are Latina mermaids, there are mermaids of every ilk. And you know why there can be? Because it's the world that we would like to see better.
Yeah.
We would like to see as
Fantasy.
many people represented
Fantasy.
in fantasy as exists. So all of y'all who have problems because there are black hobbits, get a job.
Yeah.
Get a job.
Just
Go
fantasy.
find yourself because you are focused on the wrong stuff.
And watch Mr. Toussaint, because he's really cute.
Well, this is what I don't understand. Imagine getting so offended by this to take the time to write like 250 words of this is not original source material for J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
Like, how does this offend you? You need a hobby.
It's just racist. Let's call it what it is.
Let's call it what it is.
But it's bad business because black people consume more media than any other community to the tune of $1.6 trillion.
Yeah.
And so if you're a black media company and you're not putting the sexy black guy in it, then you are not tapping into
and a lot of
$1.6
we
trillion.
white women loved the very handsome black men.
I know we were talking about it
Bridgerton.
earlier.
Like,
Yeah.
come on, Bridgerton, you've got to have diversity.
Some projects are good when they mix everybody together. I love it, and the Brits do it beautifully.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Negative criticism of the Amazon's Rings of Power, or what is it, House of Dragons, okay? It's all racism. It has to be all racism, okay? And again, this is following some criticism by people like Elon Musk, who said that Tolkien, who I guess is the author of Amazon's Rings of Power, would be turning over in his grave because of some of the characters in this book. You know, he didn't mention anything about race, okay? He just had critiques for how the characters acted and whether or not these characters are being portrayed the same way that the author would want them to be portrayed. And then Elon Musk later added, because liberals are so predictable, those who claim any criticism of Rings of Power means you're racist are outing themselves as racist. Yeah, Elon Musk knew what was coming, right? He knew that, okay, because this show is actually terrible, right? He doesn't believe that it fits the vision of the author. We all know that when people go and give it a bad review, which they will, because it doesn't fit the vision of the author and we don't like that, they're going to call us racist, which is exactly what happened, okay? There's a whole bunch of articles out there, not just the cackling hands on the View, saying that racists review Amazon's Rings of Power because they were mad because there were not enough white people, or there were too many so-called people of color in it, okay? Amazon went as far as to pause reviews to try to weed out the trolls, aka reviews that they don't like, right? Because again, racists were review bombing Lord of the Rings. Again, what does this sound like? Well, it sounds similar to what they said about She-Hulk, okay? The sexists, right? And racists as well too. I don't know what race has to do with She-Hulk, but the sexists and the racist bigots were review bombing She-Hulk. And it got bad reviews, not because it's a bad show, or that the storytelling's bad, the writing's bad, the characters aren't acting great, or the CGI is kind of unrealistic or whatever. No, it can't be any of that. It's simply because you're a racist and or a sexist, okay? You're a bigot. That is why we're getting bad reviews. It has nothing to do with the quality of our production, right? Again, this is what they say every single time one of their Hollywood productions gets negative feedback. When the fans don't like it, they just call the fans racist, right? And they expect fans to keep liking this stuff as if you're supposed to just like whatever we put out. You can't give us constructive criticism. You can't tell us how to do better, because by default, everything we do is perfect. And if you don't agree with that, then you're racist, right? Again, that's how this works, man. That's how this works. And the irony here is that, one, all the reviews, the bad reviews I'm seeing on Metacritic for Lord of the Rings Power, has nothing to do with the actors and their skin color as much as it has to do with them just not liking the characters, or they thinking that the acting is bad, right? Most people are saying, well, the scenery, the artwork itself looks amazing. Like the actual series looks amazing, but it doesn't really feel right, okay? In regards to how the characters act, it's kind of soulless, it's boring, the pacing's bad, the story's not good. It doesn't feel like an authentic adaptation of Tolkien's work, his original work, right? That is what most of the criticisms are. I haven't seen anything about, black people. Okay, it's too many people of color. But you do got one review here that does say something about, it having too much LGBTQ stuff. So, I mean, look, all I'm saying is this. I think that most of the criticism here doesn't really have anything to do with that. But even if it did, that shouldn't be no problem for the wokes. Because the wokes told us that you have to follow the author's original vision, right? So if this author did not originally envision a diverse cast, or his characters were not, a diverse people of color, or whatever you want to call it, if they were mainly white, then you need to honor that and you need to stick with it. Because they tell us all the time, guys, have you heard this one? Well, white people shouldn't make movies about ancient Egypt and make the characters white with blonde hair, because they weren't white with blonde hair. They were black, okay? Even though we really don't know if they were black. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Egyptians probably look like modern day Egyptians, right? Or modern day Arabs. Some tend to be white, some tend to be darker. I'm just saying. But regardless, that's the argument. Well, you got to stick with the original story, right? You got to make the characters look the way they actually look. You can't just make them white when there weren't any white people there, right? Same thing applies here. You just can't make characters black or so-called people of color, or make them diverse when they weren't diverse in the original story. But see, the left says, well, no. That's lore, right? That's fantasy. Therefore, because it's a fantasy world, we can just impose our woke agenda on it, no matter what. All right, cool. If that's the case, then make Black Panther white, right? The new Black Panther needs to be white. See how much these people get upset. See how much these people lose their minds. And I can turn around and say the same thing. That's fantasy. It's fantasy. You told us you don't have to stick with the author's original vision, right? You don't have to stick with it. You can just make whatever characters, whatever color you want to make them. So let's make Black Panther white. Let's make Blade white and see the reaction. I guarantee you these people will be melting down. They be now saying, oh no, you got to stick with the story. You got to stick with what the author envisioned. You can't just change the race of the characters. It's not right. Again, these people are such hypocrites, bro. We know they wouldn't be cool with it if it happened to a so-called character of color, right? They know they wouldn't be cool with this. But again, the fans are racist. Which again brings me to this right here, which is hilarious, right? Shows you how ridiculous some of this stuff is. The Lord of Rings, Rings of Power, user reviews on IMDb, they got 6.8 stars. Okay, as you see, a whole lot of 10-star reviews, whole lot of 1-star reviews, right? They said this happened. They got review bombed because the characters were too diverse. So another series, House of Dragon, that Lord of Rings is being compared to in regards to the racism and hate towards the series because, the series is too diverse. It got 8.8 stars. I wonder why. If both of these series are too diverse and the racists are review bombing it because they're too woke and diverse, what can be the difference between the reviews? Right? What can be the difference? Maybe, just maybe, House of the Dragon might be diverse with a good story, right? Maybe that is it, right? While some of these other movies and adaptations, right, series, The Lord of the Rings and She-Hulk, for example, might be diverse with a bad story. Maybe that or some other factor like character development, pacing, the script, whatever, right? The visuals, maybe those other factors have more to do with the overall reviews for a series or a movie than race, right? Or diversity, or, people being bigots in the reviews, okay? I think that people appreciate a good story and great quality production more so than anything else, right? Even if there's a little wokeness in it, okay? What people tend to be critical of is that you have bad projects that have so much wokeness in it that you got to question. Did you focus more on the story and making it a good quality production? Or did you focus more on the wokeness? Seemed more like you focused more on the wokeness than you did the actual story. And I think that that's what the real criticism here, when people criticize a movie or film or series for being woke. They're not saying that we don't like black people, we don't like LGBTQ people or whatever. That's not what they're saying. What they're saying is that you seem to be more focused on diversity and inclusion than you are telling a good story. How do you have a terrible story with all these diverse characters and all these LGBTQ characters, right? This is what I'm saying, right? That is what the main criticism is, okay? We all know Hollywood has an agenda. And people are calling out the agenda. The agenda is coming at the expense of good storytelling and good quality productions. That's what the criticism is. But again, you would have to use critical thinking and not see everything from a race-based lens to come to that conclusion. That's not what The View is, right? That's not what The View is. The View has a color view of the world. And that is why Elon Musk is right in regards to the closet racists out of themselves by accusing anybody who criticizes Hollywood of being racist. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.